The real way to know if a self-improvement book is any good is how deeply compelled you are to write notes. And the book I'm talking about today, I almost rewrote the whole book. I swear to God. But I've narrowed it down to the absolute most impactful 10 takeaways. So the book is The Wealth Money Can't Buy by Robin Sharma. Number one, people who read the most win the most. That the hand that puts down the book is a different one to the one that picked it up. I am so obsessed with this. I do have a little bit of an obsession with buying personal development books. I buy them faster than I can read them. But this just kind of got me back in the frame of mind of, oh my God, Kate, read the damn books, because there could be magic in there. There could be even just a single idea that changes how I approach my business or my productivity, and that I can share with other people as well. Robin Sharma says we eat 3 times a day to be fed, and we read 3 times a day to be wise. I don't know if I'm going to be reading 3 times a day, but it's a nice concept. And he does say to develop a lust for books, which I definitely think I have. He recommends to aim for at least 1 hour of reading a day for the rest of your life. Most people will probably find this pretty tough. Right now, I'm at about 10 to 15 minutes personally, but I do have a study hour 6 times a week. The second top takeaway is that your health is everything. Everything. There's no point in hustling and overworking all in an effort to reach your personal Mount Everest, only to end up sick in a hospital bed. In 2018, I had a whole thing with this myself, overworking 17-hour days. I pretty much removed everything that gave me joy in my life. I absolutely hit burnout, and I was really overweight, and I'm sure my mental health wasn't in a great state either. And who knows what that would have led to down the line if I'd kept things up like that. In April of 2024, I turned the whole weight and health thing around. And I'm wondering if you noticed, because in my compound effect video, which was the first video back this time round to my YouTube channel, I actually filmed that in like January, February before I lost the weight. I'm wondering if you noticed, or if you're only noticing now. And if you didn't, you can go and check. The next one, be a professional sleeper. He says sleep deprivation is the #1 way to cut your lifespan short. And if that doesn't give you the heebie-jeebies, then I don't know what will. As enjoyable as it is to be a part of the group mentality on social media with like memes about how depressed and stressed and exhausted we all are, maybe it'd be more effective to actually do something about it. I do actually have another book recommendation from this, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker.
Oh my goodness.
I listened to the audiobook about 5 years ago and it blew my mind. After reading that, I would slap someone silly if they thought that they were going to mess with my sleep. Back to The Wealth Money Can't Buy. He also includes a lot of actionable steps here to improve your sleep. He says to take a long walk after work, no device checking after 8 p.m.
I'm sorry, what?
Have a pre-sleep routine, relax in a hot bath with soothing music, avoid notifications, clean up messes. There's quite a few. Into the one that's probably the biggest mind expander of all, become a lifespan multiplier. This really caught me by surprise. I was like, what the hell do you mean? He says that aging can be slowed and maybe even reversed by thinking the right things, eating the right things, doing the right things. The author recommends getting seriously invested in adding not years, but decades to your lifespan. Because imagine you could add like 20 years, 30 years, 40 years to your expected lifespan. How much more would you be able to study and hone your craft and create results and master skills and make memories with your family and experience things? He shares loads of tips around actionable steps to create this result. Things like supplements, ice baths, saunas, intermittent fasting. There's a bunch more. And then he talks about success, and he says unusual success comes by staying in the game longer than the world tells you is reasonable, responsible, and rational. He says to outlive your peers. And that's true. I mean, if you think that your industry is saturated, then maybe you just haven't been in it for long enough. Most of these people will stop at some point. If you really focus on longevity and like actually staying alive longer, you will get more out of your life. Then there's no rush. What is the rush? Like the pure unfolding of your life and the journey is the whole damn point, and having fun along the way. If everything was about the destination, we would only ever be happy 0.0001% of the time. Woo. Next, we have mastery in your craft. So we have this concept of the 10,000 hour rule. You can only become a true master at something if you spent 10,000 hours doing it. How many of us can actually say fully that we have done 10,000 hours in the thing that we're trying to create incredible results in? Robin Sharma says something really interesting here. He says, someone is always watching you, and that someone is your highest you, which is a bit like, ooh. And he says to make today's work better than yesterday's, which was better than the day before's. And okay, well, how am I going to make this masterclass better than my last masterclass? How am I going to make this client interaction even better than my last one? How am I going to edit this YouTube video better than my last one? Another one that kind of leads on from that is to stop copying your heroes. He says you can copy your heroes or you can influence your industry, but you can't do both. So rather than working really hard to become the second best version of the person you admire, invest your finest hours into becoming the ultimate greatest version of you. Now, on to the next one, that to produce your master work, you need to be alone a lot. Get away from your usual life and really just go into the zone and focus on this master work or whatever passion project it is. And I love this quote. He says, you can be in the noise of the world, or you can make your masterpieces through being alone, but never both. As an introvert, you couldn't delight me more with any idea than you can with this one. All I ever really want to do is be in hermit mode and work on my craft. And yes, I do want to book a random log cabin down the country where nobody can contact me for a week and just like work on YouTube videos or work on my memberships or write a book or whatever. And I want to challenge you to think about when you can do that. When can you actually travel somewhere and go specifically to a place where it's not just to get away and switch off, but it's like your own little retreat, whatever the thing is for you, the book, the album, the YouTube channel, the podcast. And maybe it doesn't even have to be a week. Maybe it's 2 or 3 nights, but go away with that intention. Number 8, time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. As a productivity strategist, this is so important to me, which surprises people for some reason, but also it is one that I need regular reminders of, because there's always that next big thing to work on, something to systemize, someone to reply to, that post to create. But if you fill your days with energy taking activities and you don't fill them with energy giving activities, yeah, you're going to be tired, and it's a slippery slope to be on. And here's a quote from the book I love as well. A strong work ethic without a deep rest ethic won't stand the test of time. It's no wonder the world is full of workaholics and people stressed to their tits and who make being busy a core part of their personality. Next one, fortune makers are obsessed with doubling their money as quickly as possible, and at a rate of 10%, it would take 7 years to double your money. Hello, investing. It's interesting to have a chapter on wealth in a book called The Wealth Money Can't Buy, but the way Robin Sharma looks at it is very different to how most people look at it. You can be fully satisfied with what you have and fulfilled in your life because there's experiences that you can have and you can treat your family to things. And this is how I see wealth as well. All of this relates back to getting more out of your life, which is why my username on Instagram is More to Life Kate. People tend not to make the connection between productivity and systems and SOPs, automations, workflows, things like that, and that. But that is the underlying reason for the content that I create, just in case you didn't know that. All right, the last one I'm going to throw you in the deep end here. What will people say on your deathbed to celebrate your magnificently lived life? I love when Robin Sharma talks about death and mortality, because he says intimacy with your mortality is essential for living to the point. When a person knows that this time next month they're not going to be around, it really focuses the mind. In March of this year, a childhood friend of mine unfortunately passed away due to an illness. And that time, I've never had so many raging lessons going through my mind about how to live. Now, maybe that's a whole other video, but as upsetting a time as it was, there were so many lessons in there. It was also really enlightening in a strange way. So in case you missed any of those, the people who read the most win the most. Your health is everything, become a professional sleeper, become a skilled lifespan multiplier, work on obtaining mastery in your craft, stop copying your heroes, go and have some solo time. Time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. Fortune makers are obsessed with making their money work for them and doubling their money as quickly as possible. And lastly, connect with your mortality. And I'm going to be honest, these things only scratch the surface of the value in this book. This is honestly going into my top 5 personal development books ever. There's so much in there. It's well worth the read. I'll leave it linked in the description for you if you want to check it out. And if you found this video useful, then the next one you're going to want to check out is my video on the compound effect. And this is how you're going to make every single week better than the last. All right, I will see you in that video.